We got to change the narrative. It could be more of us in here. It could be more. There's power. There's power in unity. There's power in rocking with each other. And so, New Africa for me is collaboration, collaboration, collaboration.
Mhm.
Finding ways to tell our story through collaboration. It will keep our genre here longer.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Afrolit. We are starting off season 4 with such an amazing, talented artist who I am so excited to have. He is a producer, singer, songwriter, has worked with tons and tons of artists, has probably performed at a festival you've been at. You just didn't know that it was him. And so we are just going to get into his story and into his background because that is what Afrolit is all about, highlighting what's new and noteworthy from the continent and its diaspora. So I am joined with the talented Shirazee. Yay! Round of applause, round of applause. Welcome to Afrolit.
Man, listen, the latest podcast out here. Is fantastic. So, you know,
I
I had
know, right?
I had to turn up. I had to turn up for you. Thank
It's
you for having
lit.
me.
No Travis Scott.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Of course, of course. And it's interesting too because I feel like you are a pioneer. And I hope you know that.
Wow.
Because I think that there is and this season, what I'm really trying to encapsulate is just what it means, what new Africa means. We've been hearing this term, we've been hearing it, people are talking about it, one Africa, it's a new Africa, Africa is now.
Mhm.
But I think that it's the people who are actually pushing that narrative in the work that they do. Those are the pioneers, and you're one of them. So
Wow.
I actually want to know first and foremost
I
the area
appreciate
codes, right? Right. You see the grin on
appreciate
his face.
it.
I want to know the area codes that you rep, the countries you represent, because
Oh
y'all
man.
didn't know this man is a global man, global man. So tell
Oh
us,
man.
because
Oh
I
man.
know I rep 254 and
Yeah.
212,
Okay.
right?
And so 254 is Kenya,
254 is Kenya,
and then the 212 is the New York.
212 is New York.
Got it. So for me, it would have to be about 6 area codes. Uh, but I'll start with the 229. 229 is where I was born,
Okay.
the source of all the swag, the sauce.
Hey.
Benin has got to be number one up there. And
Okay.
then I go to 233
Uh-huh.
because Ghana is where I discovered music
Mm.
and fell in love with music and high school, all that stuff. So I would say 229, 233, but I cannot honorable mention to 234 because my
Mm.
mother's side of the family is from Abeokuta and so I have to give super honorable mention to 234
Mm-hmm.
before I go to 27 because South Africa played a part uh,
Wow. Yup. Okay.
and 44
Yeah.
and
Okay.
then the 33 France being also a major part of the story.
Uh-huh.
And then we have a 678 because of the Atlanta before the
Six,
New York,
7, 8. Okay.
and then the 212. So now there, here we hey you have all my
Wow.
you have all my codes right there.
That calling card. How many calling cards did you used to buy when you had to call back home?
Man, listen, I was you remember Boss?
Of course, Boss Revolution. That's the real one.
Yeah, Boss Revolution probably made a lot of money for me.
Oh, I could tell. I could
A lot
tell.
of money from me. Like
Six.
they it got to a point where like I was so happy when I finally was able to get a plan that allowed me to call UK and Europe for free. Uh,
Wow.
and so yeah, I was so happy about that because it cost me a lot of money to just
I
call.
know, right? To just,
Crazy,
call mom, call auntie,
crazy,
call uncle. I don't know who
crazy.
this.
You already know like and for me everybody's still back home. So people don't I
Yeah.
don't a lot of people don't know that, but everybody's still back home. So I'm very I'm very, very in tune, and so I'm always on the phone with home. So it's like
Right.
it's expensive. It gets expensive.
It gets expensive. No, I remember when I used to get sent to like buy that calling card, you know? It was a big it was a big deal. Like
It's
it
a
was
big
not,
deal.
I had to buy at least 3 and then they tried to jack up the price. I remember that like, oh, just a pain, a
So
pain.
your family's still here?
So my family, it's interesting. They were here when I was growing up, but then
Mm,
majority have moved back and are kind of spread out throughout the
got it.
continent as well.
Got it.
So yeah, no, I definitely relate because yeah, it's when
Afro
it's yeah.
Afro lit. You definitely Afro lit because
We're both. That's why you're here. That's why you're here. We're both. All everyone on Afrolit is lit.
I had to check the temperature. Just wanted to see.
Right? That's the temperature. So, you touch on something really interesting is that, all these different places inspired, your creativity. And so
Mhm.
I want to, just tell us about your, childhood because it's like already, off the bat like 6 area codes. I mean, I know that you spent, probably significant time in each of these places, but I'd just love to hear more about like, when you like what was like the first point in which you interacted with your creativity? Like, was it through school or was it just with the homies? And then
It
how
had,
did that change as you traveled?
yeah, I would say that's why I always big up Ghana because Ghana, like, so before then I loved music a lot. Like I would like when
Hmm.
I listened to the first album that I listened to that really made me go crazy was Michael Jackson's Dangerous album.
Right. Props.
One of my uncles played it for me, like, because obviously, like we were not, what I'm saying, outside when those albums came out. So
Right. Yeah.
our big homies have to put us on. So like, you're a kid, like, and then they play old school music, and then they played
Right.
like they played like that dangerous stuff for me, and I was like,
Mm.
what's happening? And this man, and I didn't understand what he was saying because I was only at the time I only spoke French.
Yeah.
And so I only spoke French and Yoruba and Fon, so I didn't really understand what he was saying.
Mm.
And so it's only when I got to Ghana and I started understanding English and I started understanding what these lyrics were saying and I understood what he was saying. And
Hmm.
even as a kid, you don't understand what he's saying. Like there was a song that I
Right.
loved, the song called "Who Is It" by Michael Jackson, and
Mm.
like it's a dope old school song, really 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 amazing. Like I love that song to this day. But
Right.
I didn't know what he was saying. I didn't get what he was saying. The intricacies, like is it my brother? Is it like I didn't know he
Yeah.
was talking about cheating. I didn't know what any of that. And so
How old were you?
that was when I finally discovered that song. I was probably like 9, 10 years old, and we were just sitting there
Wow.
like trying to understand what all that stuff was. So I had to go back and listen to everything Mike was doing. Like I was like, once I finally understood English, I was like going back to understand everything, all the old school songs.
Yeah.
And so I look back at those moments as like the moments where I felt like I was starting to fall in love, but nothing ever clicked until I heard Outkast. Once I heard Out, I lost my
Ah,
mind.
props.
Yeah, once I heard Andre 3000, I lost my mind. I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I
Yes.
want to create music. I want to be involved in this. But I
Yeah.
didn't know how. I was just a kid in Ghana, just dreaming about like maybe one day I will end up in the music business. Or like I didn't think all these things that are happening now. I was not even there. Like I just knew that I had a world in my head that
Yeah.
nobody was allowed in.
Hmm.
I knew that I had to protect it. I don't know why I knew I had to protect it because I felt like everybody around me wasn't probably going to understand what was going on in my head. Like
Mm.
what I was seeing then, a lot of things that I'm doing now, people are surprised, and for me, it doesn't surprise me as much. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Because
of course. Yeah.
it's been in here. Like I've been
You've
seeing it.
seen it in
Yeah,
your mind's eye.
yeah,
Yeah. No.
yeah. So it's hard to explain from a create. So when you say when I got in touch with my creativity, I think is during those days. Like I was already there, but I had to now learn how to tell my story, how to sing, how to find my voice.
Mm.
The hardest part was finding my voice to be able to get what was in my head to you.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know.
No, that's so real. And I think that, especially as creatives, and that's why, I think the story and the journey is equally as important as like, the fruits that we're seeing right now, because
Yeah.
it's like they inform each other. You know what I mean? So it's like without, traveling to Ghana, then going to France, then going to the UK, and then making it to New York, there's no, you know what I mean? Like we don't know this Shirazi, like
We don't have an African in New York without.
yeah, exactly. We don't have an African in New York. And it's, it's amazing that like, you kept at it and like you have now, just so much music under
Mm.
your belt. So like, well, tell us about the first experience in the studio, like so now, you're with the homies, you know in your mind's eye you're keeping it, you're kind of working it on the low. Like how did you, because I know, and one thing I've seen too is just inspired by this idea of like New Africa is that it's not just like a singular thing that creatives do. Like you'll meet a man who like, 9 to 5, he's probably working on cars, but he's like one of the hottest producers that is coming out of like East Africa right now, So it's just
Yeah.
like there's this duality of like, okay, this is like the real, or it's like they're a producer for like a gospel, crew or church choir, but then it's like on the low, they're trying to make that next club banger. So like
Gotta do what it do.
yeah, talk to me about like your duality. Like, did you ever have to work that 9 to 5 to support the creativity? And what
So
was that like?
so it's interesting that you say that, but I gotta be very real with you. I was a stubborn dreamer in the sense that I knew that if I did anything else, it would distract from the main goal. And I know how my brain works, so I know if I start doing something, I'm gonna put my all into it, and I know that I'm not gonna be able to do the other. Like I don't know how to compartmentalize like everything, so I'd rather be the broke, struggling artist that's something I don't advise to anybody, by the way. So I was
Like, don't follow him.
don't follow that. Don't follow that. Do go get that 9 to 5. If you can do it, go do that. Go do that. I was just so focused on just like what I wanted to do that I didn't mind the periods where I went homeless. I didn't mind being homeless in New York. I didn't mind all these things because for me, I was so centered on one thing. And so yeah, I didn't have the duality. My duality was having to see my friends who I went to school with have jobs and be
Yeah.
living a great life, and being the artist that was like, look at this fool, look at this
Like, what
crazy
is
guy.
he doing?
What is
Like,
and it was hard to explain to
yeah.
family, to friends, to everybody.
Woo.
They don't get it. And so those who do, I cherish them, and I still
Yeah.
do. But those who did, I cherish them, and still do. And today we're just happy to be able to say we were right.
Mm,
But
yes.
it could have turned left. Could have turned really left.
And I'm sure that there were situations that, or, let me rephrase, like, were there any situations where it did make you second guess the decision that you made? Because I know, like, from adolescence, you had seen this vision and you knew this is what you wanted to do. But as we kind of go through life, situations arrive and it's just
Yeah.
like, ah,
If I tell you on everything I love, I've never thought about quitting.
wow, powerful.
Never. The one thing, the hardest moment I've had was one day I was sitting on a bench in New York. I remember I was homeless, right? And I was sitting on a
Mm,
bench with one of my friends, Akeem, and we were going through it at the same time together. And I was sitting there looking at him, and I told him, man, like if nothing happens this week in New York, I'm gonna give up and go back to Atlanta, but not give up on music. I was having a fight with God because I was gonna give up on God.
mm,
My conversation was with God. I was like, yo, I've been nothing but good to you. I've actually done everything I'm supposed to be doing out here. I've been a good
right.
man. Why am I not being rewarded? So if nothing happens this week, I was so low that I was like, I made a dare to God. I said, if nothing happens this week, I will never believe in you again. This is a
Woo.
real, like, I've never shared this with anybody, but I had a conversation with God. I was like, if nothing happens this week, I will
Yes.
never believe in you again. And I had already like I was resigned in my head not to
Yeah.
believe in religion anymore. I was like gonna be like, religion or anything God related. I was gonna be on some like
Spiritual.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
out. But I'll still be doing my music, but don't come talking to me about God. That's where I was. And that's the week I met the landlady who gave me a place to stay for free in New York. Like that's the week I
Yes.
met. And a
Wow.
place to stay for 8 months, rent free. And she didn't have to do that. Like she married, she has kids,
Yeah.
6 kids. Like she didn't have to do that. And so the fact that I met her that week, for me, it just reinforced everything that
Mm,
I knew. But I think God was just on some like, all right, I'll push you to the very limit. But
yes.
I'll be there when you need me. I'll be there. I'm not gonna let you fall. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you completely fall. But I'm gonna remind you I'm actually here. But you got to work for it.
Yes.
You got
Yes.
to work for it. You got to get everything. So, and that's 8 months. 8 months after she let me stay in this place, that's when I got my first publishing deal, and this and that, and everything just started kind of like happening from then.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
No, and I know, as your story is so, I think that testimony of faith is
man,
just, so evident and true in
man.
your story. And I think that that tenacity is I think something that should inspire, your fellow creatives, and especially those who are still in the continent who may not, have had yet the opportunity to travel here. But I think what the beautiful thing is too is that, like, slowly but surely there's actually less and less of a need to. I mean, of course, to travel and to gain a different perspective is one thing, but I don't know if there's, a necessity to travel here because listen, Afro beats is hot. Africa is the next thing. So many people have told me, Africa is like going to be the next China, da da da. And so I would just love to know, from your perspective, especially because you have been in the game, you've been doing this for a while. 2016, you had or at least according to the streaming sites, because I'm sure there's probably some SoundCloud mixes that I've yet to hear. But I want to know, like, the first time you kind of put music after signing that deal and putting out new music, which
Mm,
then, led to you meeting with Michael Brun and, doing what now the world knows as Soweto. And so I would love to just talk us through that journey of like now, you are, in a better situation,
mm,
from being homeless, being put out on the street, but like now you're
mm.
in, now you're in New York and now you're seeing, you're seeing some light come out. So like,
Yeah.
tell us about that.
I mean, I just got to work, and I still I just like I already had the work ethic, so I just knew like I just had to focus. And once I focused, I just started getting more and more creative, and I started meeting some really really cool collaborators along the way, and started making amazing music, and that led to some cool placements, as a songwriter and stuff like that. But nothing was ever fulfilling until I started using my own voice to speak my own truth.
Mm,
And that's how different happened. And after different, it was more like, okay, I have to make sure that I stay very 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 on brand with who I am, and speak to my continent as much, speak to and for my continent as much as I speak for myself.
mm-hmm.
And so that's when I started making music that resonated more with who I was in my core, and that's when things started to change. And that's when I came out with Iguana, then the Home and Away project.
Yes.
The Home and Away project for me was like, it was the best way to introduce myself, to tell people like I'm here. This is who I really am. It's my first EP, and then the week after that drop, we dropped Soweto with Michael Broom. And
Yes.
so that was a very very strong period for me in 2018, like a real like, it felt like a real coming of like age, like yeah, I'm here,
Mm,
like I'm, like this is who I am. I don't care how many people hear it is, but even the people that just discover me through this right now and go listen to Home and Away, they will know exactly who I am by listening to that project. Once they hear the voice, they hear the tone, they hear the identity, and the like who I really am. Like I found my sound, I found
yes.
myself, and I just went crazy. And so once I did that, I did Soweto. I mean, everything just started opening up, and then the shows happened, and then I was able
Yes.
to show another side of me on stage to people, like that. When I perform, when I'm on that stage, I really like give everything, because
You do. Y'all,
yeah,
when outside opens, Definitely make sure to catch Shirazee on tour. You
You
know,
have seen me. You have seen me live.
I have seen you live. Shout out to everyday people.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. I was just talking to DJ Momo. Shout out to DJ Momo. I posted
Yes.
something on my stories. I said, where do you guys want to see me out perform as soon as outside open? And he was one of the first people to reply. He was like, everyday people, and and
Shut
uh,
down.
and yeah, that's gonna be mine. Like if they have me out, especially now with the new music, like come on,
I know, right? No, this, and we're gonna
yeah,
get into it. We're gonna get into Lost
yeah,
because
yeah.
wow,
It's not,
yes,
we don't. I don't think anybody's ready for that because I've been holding energy. You got to think I've been holding energy
for months,
for like I'm like
like
I'm,
years. It's gonna be a year.
I'm ready to explode. So you put me on any stage after this thing opens, man. It's gonna be,
Game over.
man. I mean, I don't think the people that pay to come see me, like after this thing opens, I don't think that they would like whatever they pay. They're not getting that worth. They're getting way more. Like they'll be getting.
That's why. That's why. Yep, the price is going up. Like after that, like it's gonna open. People, COVID has been, it's been a challenge. But after
Yeah. So,
that, yeah, it's going up. It's
so
going
yeah,
up and up.
I give everything on that stage. So like that music was really, it was really the perfect music to go in front of all these people to defend because I was so proud of it. And fast forward, we have Michael Bruin and I did it again with Love Me Suffer,
Yes.
last at the end of the last year, and then I put out my new project again last year.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, last year put out
A lot of
quite a
new
bit of
music.
music. Quite a bit of music last year, but never mind. Yeah,
I mean, and so I just want to take it back because you've made such excellent points, but I want to know more of just like how you were able to discover your like sound and your niche, because I think
yeah.
that especially now as everyone is trying to hop on this like Afrobeat sound, right? Which is it feels,
Late,
right? It's not it's
late.
not as right.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But
Everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome.
everybody is welcome. But I mean, I feel like this is the time, especially for Black people and people who are from the continent,
Hmm.
at least like residing there. And
Hmm.
so, for you, because, we see the drip, we see the African ring, you got, you just exude this.
This whole thing.
Yeah. So it's like I know at least for those of us who grew up in the States, like this was definitely a thing that we tried to hide in some situations,
Wow.
and so like whether it was being made fun of being too dark, or just
Wow.
what lunch you're bringing, like all these
Wow.
stereotypes that we've heard, right? So
That's
it's like
crazy.
I would love to know for you, when you did come now to the States, just
Hmm.
like how did you know? Because I'm sure every artist that I know has always just attempted to be like a rapper, or like be in this like trap lifestyle, and it's like at what point for you did you know that it's not for you, and
Yeah.
like this is like who we see now is
You know,
actually who
you
you
know what's funny? I knew before I came to America who I was. That's the beauty. So because
mm,
I had gone through the whole thing because my like I started off my whole thing. I told you when I heard Outkast, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So
right, right, right.
I started off being a rapper. So that's how you know I'm telling the truth. I was actually like that's how I came in exploring my creativity. I
Yeah.
was a rapper. And then like the thing is, I think I wasn't a dope ass, rapper.
All
I
right,
think,
I'll give you props. Yes, yes, yes.
but my friends who knew me then and who still know me beg to differ. They're like, no, you were out here. Like you could have actually done. But the thing is, once I started singing my own hooks, one of my very good friends, Scred, he heard my voice and he was like, yo, your melodies, like you sing, like you could actually do more singing. And actually, he was the one that said, yo, you could write for people
Mm,
and sing those. So he pushed me into finding out that side of me, like start singing more. And then I had this tone that was very, I have this tone that is very
yeah,
raspy, and
yeah, yeah.
so it could either be something you really like, or you might be like, no, this is not for
Right,
me.
right.
But what it did for me was that it gave me a signature, and it
Mm,
showed that I was really like, I found my signature through that. I was like, wait, this. this is like actually a superpower. Nobody sounds like me.
Mm,
It was
right.
like once that click went off in my head, like nobody sounds like me. Like I actually have a voice that you can't duplicate with auto tune. You can't do nothing with your. You can't trick your a computer into sounding like me. So I once
Exactly.
that once that made sense in my head, I said, "Oh, yeah, we got to stay here and we got to keep telling our story through this lens." And once I started going pushing the thing a little bit more, I started finding out how many high notes I could reach and how I was like, once I started
Yeah.
understanding my voice, it
Yeah.
was over. I just was like, "Oh, you actually out here." So I just went crazy.
Yeah,
I just
no,
went
and
crazy.
that's see, that's beautiful, and I hope that's something that, a lot of, young creatives who, are looking up to you can take away too, that you really in this game, it's really important to know who you are and like at least have a sense of, okay, these
Hmm.
are these this is the vision that I have. This is,
Hmm.
I'm gonna put my all in it. I'm not gonna quit, but I'm
Hmm.
also just gonna stay true to me, and like
And,
I think
and not to cut you off, sorry, but you said something very dope earlier when you said, you know, with Americans, like, when you were growing up here, getting laughed at and everything because you were hiding it. That's the thing. When I told you that I found it before I came here, that's why when I got to America, I was so proud in the sense that by the time I got here, I was like, there was nothing you could say to me to shake my spirit.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
when I came, I was on some very, very like you could say all your jokes about us being African. That I didn't care because I was so like I never hid where I was from. I
Mhm.
never like anybody that's known me since I came to America. I never said when you ask me where I'm from, I never said an American city.
Right.
When you ask me where I'm from, I go Benin, West Africa. They go what? I said Benin, West Africa. Then I have to tell them it's right next to Nigeria. That is between Nigeria and Togo. Then they go, oh yeah, yeah. Then they
Now they
look
get
and then
context.
now they know because even just yesterday, I go through this every day. Like somebody asked me, like, "Yo, where you from?" I'm like Benin, like Benin. It's like, yo, I never heard of that country. I'm like, yeah, I'm working hard.
So
So
now you know.
I'm working hard so that changes, and I've made it one of my missions to let people know exactly. I won't stop until people like once I say anybody that says Benin, people can just know like that's that.
Shirazee.
If you can't, if you at least if not for nothing, you can at least if you don't know where it is on the map, you be like, oh, that's where Shirazi's from. I want you to be able to still put two and two together, so you know exactly that name before I expire.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
That is so dope. That is so
Mm.
dope. And I think that, it's interesting too because you and like many others represent that new Africa, and we pay homage to people like Angelique Kidjo and, even,
Queen, the queen.
the Queen, but it's like
Mm.
there's this new just generation that has come,
Mhm.
when we think
Mhm.
about, Yemi Alade, when we
Mhm.
think about just Enos B from Congo, like there's
Mhm.
just, when we think about Diamond from Tanzania, like there's just this new generation who are
I can't
taking,
wait to I can't wait to work with that guy. I can't wait to do something with that.
right, and it's gonna happen. It's gonna
There's
happen.
some cool East African artists that I really really like. Like I think he's one of them. There's another guy called Harmonize that I really like. For me,
Yes, harmonize. Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. I can't wait to discover even more of them and like just kind of like
Right, and
connect.
there's some that we don't know, And
Yeah,
I just want to know for you, like, what does New Africa mean to you? Like when
exactly what I just said. Being able to collaborate with each other. That's New
Okay,
Africa. We got to
okay.
change. We got to change the. We got to change the narrative. It could be more of us in here. It could be more. There's power. There's power in unity. There's power in rocking with each other. And so, New Africa for me is collaboration, collaboration, collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
Finding ways to tell our story through collaboration. It will keep our genre here longer.
Mm, mm.
Competition is great. It pushes us to be better, but collaboration will push us further together.
I love that. And
You
that
know.
is, I think, where I think that's where like infrastructure needs, a bit, we need that support too. Cause I think
Mhm.
sometimes it's like we could collaborate. And I think the internet is making this easier,
Yep.
but it's just like on the ground sometimes, it's like if power goes out, it's like, all right, that's it for the student. You know what I mean?
But
And
that's the thing. Like, it's cool. The power will come back, and when it comes back, we back. You know what I'm
we
saying?
back.
It's like, for me, it's just more than like I'm way past us having excuses. You know what I'm saying? Because when I go home, I will take my equipment with me home. And so if I'm home right now, and if I'm in Benin, and Harmonize gives me a call and goes, "Listen, I got this record that's going crazy. I need a 16 from you." The light is off. I can go to another friend's house in Benin who has a generator or something. We can find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, you know? And
Period.
it's like when you hungry, like, what I'm saying, you can't make excuses. Like I'm so hungry still. Like I'm hungry as hell. Like
Yeah.
every time I hear something that I love, I jump on it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
jump. I don't know. I don't care where it came from. I don't care who made it.
Yeah.
If it's fire, I am on it. You know what I'm saying? And like, Michael knows this about me. Michael Bruin is one of
Yeah.
my biggest collaborators because of that. Because he
Yeah.
catches me, he catches me like at odd times. He just sends me something via a message. I listen to it. I start recording right away. Voice note, boom, voice note. Even if I'm outside, I could be in a line for a grocery store. I start voice noting an idea I have because I don't want to lose it, and then
Yeah.
I'll send it to him because that's that passion, man. It comes from somewhere I can explain, So I think New Africa is also us not making excuses at all. No matter what it is, we're getting it done.
But yeah,
Yeah.
just walk us through that journey. Cause
Um.
dang, yo.
Yeah. Mud. Mud. I'll tell you this. This is the type of things that happen when you just follow your heart. This wasn't something that was planned.
What?
No, 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 it wasn't. I literally, I was the only thing that I know was that I wanted to tell my story because it got to a point where I was like, okay, I gave the people home and away. I
Yes.
gave the people Soweto. They know you can sing. They know
Right.
you can make a song. Okay, cool. But
Talent
who
is
are you?
undeniable.
But who are you? Who are you? What do they know about you?
Mm,
And so I was like, okay, what's the best way to convey that to people
mhm,
while making it in a way that they can actually sing back to me?
mhm,
So I thought,
mm.
and I'm not even a big guy on, like, I don't, if you listen to my music, I don't do remakes. I don't do,
Yeah, yeah.
but that song had always meant something really, really deep, deep to me. It was something I loved, but then I didn't want to touch it until I was ready to say what I wanted to say.
Mhm.
And I said, you know what? African in New York sounds like the best way to describe to tell my story.
Yeah.
And so I did it, and we went through the process, and I ended up getting the man's permission to do it,
Wow. Yeah.
because initially it was a little tricky to do it, to get it done, but I ended up getting to his manager, Martin Kersenbaum, amazing guy. He and I had connected years back because I had written a song that Sting recorded, and
Right.
but that was like 2013, 2014. So I didn't know if the number still worked. I didn't know if he was still
Right.
like,
You know what I mean?
I don't know if he's gonna change it. I
Like,
don't know if he's
whoop.
gonna say
Oh,
yes or
okay,
no.
bye. You know?
So so you never know, but we've always kept a respectable rapport. So I reached out just to say, hey, this got denied, but I want to know if we can get a yes. And because it got denied originally, that's what a lot of people don't know. It wasn't accepted originally by the publisher. The publisher was like, no, and I had to go through the manager, and the manager was like, yes, we love this. Like, you should put it out, and that's how we got the decision got overruled. So that was the first thing already, and
Yeah.
then when we put it out, the reaction to it was awesome. And then Sting himself, after we finally spoke for the first time, because we did a Zoom conversation
Yes.
yeah, that
Nice.
conversation, that
Mhm.
Zoom conversation is the first time him and I ever speak ever.
What?
Yes.
Okay,
So
this
you
whole
guys,
process.
yeah. So Afrolit members should go, followers should go see that conversation on spin dot
Yeah.
com, artist to artist, that's the first time Sting and I ever speak to each other. We had never spoken before. And
Whoa.
yeah, so that's what's cool about this is that only shortly after that, then I get a call saying that he wants to do the song for his duets album, for his duets
Yes,
for
yes.
duets project, and I was like, already, I was losing my mind. I was like, no, that's incredible.
You know what I'm saying?
And so I heard the version with him on it. I lost my mind. I was like, holy, 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 this is really, really good.
You
And
know?
because he's never stood next to anybody that done a version with him of that song. He's
Yeah.
never stood. He's like, there's been various versions of that song,
Yeah, there have been. Yeah.
and he has never like stood next to the person that sang that song before.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the first official duets version of that. And so that already blew my mind that he loved it that much, you know. And
Yeah.
then I get a call saying he wants to do New Year's Eve. He wants to do the song on New Year's Eve for NBC. That's when I really was like, okay, this is crazy.
Whoa. So you
And,
didn't even know that like it was gonna open that opportunity.
no.
Wow.
And
Wow.
obviously by the time this airs, your followers would have seen it. But we just did Good Morning America.
Yes.
It's airing March 19. It just aired. Actually, they'll be seeing this on. They'll be hearing this March 24th. So
Yeah, exactly.
March 19th, we're doing Good Morning America. Sting and
That
I. And
is
we're
dope.
actually together in New York, and we're yeah. It's
Wow.
the relationship just keeps building and keeps building and keeps building,
Yeah.
and that's the day the album comes out. The duets, the Sting duets album comes
Mhm.
out, and Englishman African in New York is actually the single of the project. You know that
Whoa,
lead single.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, Shirazi. Like, I mean, it's one thing to like see the vision,
Hmm.
and have this idea.
Hmm.
But now to kind of be walking into it and like
Hmm.
seeing it unfold, like that is just a whole new
Crazy,
like terrain,
crazy.
and I'm sure it brings on like a new level of confidence. And but I also want to know like what you are emphasizing, because I know that you're a big, you want to give back and you want
Yeah,
to, of course, work with young people. But I would just love to know like how do you think more, especially African creatives, should like give back, whether it's in their time, whether it's in their resources? Like, what advice would you pair to someone who is still in that vision mode? And yes they're attempting and they're doing and they're walking in it, but it's been what, like not 10 years, well, actually even more, since if you started this when you were like a
yeah. I mean,
child,
you got
and
it.
you've
You
been doing
still,
this your whole life, but it's like
yeah,
now you're seeing the fruits after all of this work that you've put in. And we live in a generation now that is very, like, I call it the microwave. I heard
yeah.
that, like, the microwave it's like we start doing things and we want to blow up and go viral instantaneously.
No,
So like, yeah, what would you say to like creatives who are just so frustrated by their journey?
I'll just say this. The first thing is there are no shortcuts. There
Mm-hmm.
are none. So even when you think you got there fast and you think you're gonna get there fast, and there are no shortcuts. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta learn everything you gotta learn, because everything I went through has prepared me for now.
Right.
And that's why, like, when I get on stage, that's why you get the show you got at Everyday People. That's because of everything I've gone through. That's why when you see me live, you felt the way you felt, and you're
Yeah.
able to tell your friends, "Oh, he's amazing live." Well, because I've done shows that were not that good. I've done shows that were, that had only 5 people, 10 people. That's the part people don't want to tell you. I've
Yeah.
had
Let's
shows that
talk about it.
I've had shows that were not good, like that were like only like 20 people there. The room has a capacity of at least 100,
So it's
150.
like you feel
So,
it very awkward.
but anybody that was there, they would tell you that, you know, they would tell you that I gave them my best. I didn't slack. I did not slack the whole time. You know,
Mm,
I gave them 100,000%,
mm-hmm,
even if it was 20 people. You know,
mm-hmm, mm.
everybody got the same energy. So it takes, there's no short, there are no shortcuts. And then another thing I would say is that protect your dreams at all costs. You know, to all these creators, I'll tell them like, yo, protect your dreams at all costs, because people will try to tell you, talk to you out of like your vision. Like, you know, I remember like just even this African in New York example. Like, if I take the first no as a no, I don't. That song never comes out, and none of this is happening right now.
Look at that.
You got to be stubborn with your dream. You got to be stubborn, and giving back. Giving back for me is being able to be just receptive to like every. That's why, like, even on my requests on Instagram, I look at all those. I'm the guy that looks at all my requests. I look at all my requests. I look in there
Yeah.
because there are producers in there trying to shoot their shot. There are artists trying to collaborate. There are people, and in there sometimes you find gems. Like there's this producer right now in Nigeria who's killing it. His name is P Prime. He has this tag, get him. You know, so
Yes.
he was in my DMs in 2018.
Look at that.
In 2018, he was like, "Yo, can I send you instrumentals?" I was like, "Sure." I sent him my email, and like we were following each other. So like, look, and he was just, I think at the time he was 16,
Look.
because he's like 18 or 19 now. He's like one of the youngest
Look at
upcoming producers in
that. I
Africa.
didn't even know
I
that.
am so proud of P Prime, because for one, even if his come up didn't come up with making a hit for me or anything,
Yeah.
I'm just happy for him, because like I heard it then, right? I don't just send my email to everybody.
Exactly.
So, but I heard it then enough to send him like, yo, send me stuff.
Yeah.
Because even then I could see the spark. He had nothing going on, but I could see the spark and the hunger. Like you can peep it. You can peep it. You can hear it. Like, and I think artists should never get too big to like not do that. And so now he's actually one of the biggest producers in Africa.